we're going to talk about some sword-specific stretches. These are stretches that you use the sword for. You can use any waster you want. You can use a rebated steel sword. You can use a rattan baton. I'm going to go ahead and use my synthetic sword just because I like the look of it and it's nice and long for some of the drills that we want to do. The first pull apart is the low pull apart. You go ahead and you grab it close together, maybe a few inches apart. You set that low and you pull it apart. This hand is going this way, this hand is pulling that way. You hold that for 30 seconds and then you relax. The second one, you do at chest level. Your elbows, everything's even with the sword. Same thing, a couple inches apart, and you pull apart. Relax that out. You want to hold that for a good 30 seconds at a minimum. And finally, you might have to space this a little bit further apart, depends on how flexible you are. You put it behind your back, and you pull apart in opposite directions. And 30 seconds for each one of those. The next one we're going to do is a longsword stretch drill. I love doing this one with a longsword or a two-handed sword. That tends to work best. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to hold it in a thumb grip. That's where your thumb is along the flat of the blade. And then with your other hand, you also enter the thumb grip on the pommel. You hold that out in front of you, and you rotate it to 90 degrees. And once you're at 90 degrees, you push just a little bit. And you make sure this hand here isn't bouncing around. You want to keep that in the same spot. Nice and slow, you get to the 90 degree, you push it just a little bit, and you rotate it back. You want to do about 5 or 6 of these, making sure to get that stretch. And then once you're done with those 5 or 6, you switch hands, you put the left on top, and you go. Good. Next thing we're going to do is the flow mechanics. This one I like to do because it teaches a good way to get nice and loose with the sword, how to recover. There's a lot of things that come from it, but most of all, just get your wrist warmed up so you're not as likely to stretch it out. But for that, you're going to want to use a single-handed sword. I'm going to use the SCA baton for this. All that you're doing is you're letting that sword roll like the pendulum on a clock. Just rotate your hand over, your hand goes to the right, and then to the left. Nice, easy flow motion. And once you're comfortable with this, you can switch that up to go from front to back. Same setup, front, just roll to the back. I also like to take my opposite hand, put it on the flat of my back so I don't hit my fingers. Not a bad idea. Finally, we're going to do what's the saber warm-up drill, or the Hollywood warm-up drill. In every movie you see, guys roll that sword out, they do that flick of the wrist. Not a lot of practical application of that, but one thing that is good with that is you're flexing your wrist out. You get a nice little stretch, and you feel comfortable. So I like to do 10 on each side, just letting it roll over in a forward motion, and I switch to the other side. Nice forward motion. And once you're done with that, the forward motion is forward roll, back motion is called back roll. Make sure you do each side. Back way is a little bit more difficult. Once you do that, it's nice and warmed up and it feels a lot more comfortable. But again, probably not as applicable in a fight, not as useful in a fight. All right, so finally, this one's a little bit more difficult, but it's a great stretch, and one of the joints that really gets overused in sword fighting is the shoulder, the sword shoulder. And this exercise, once I learned it, really helped stop inflammation. It helped me be a little stronger, and it made my sword fighting game less painful in the days that I'm not sparring. So what you want to do is you want to grab the pommel or bottom of your sword, and then grab the tip. The further apart you are, the easier it is. The closer together, as you get more flexible, the more difficult it is. We're going to start a nice, easy distance. What you're going to do is you're going to hold it low, pull it over the head, and roll it all the way back to where your arms extend. And then pull it up. Once you get going, just do several of these. I like to do 5 to 10 on each side. Once you get comfortable, switch it back up. Instead of the right hand going first, that left hand's going to go first. Pull it down. Gets caught, do your thing. Pull it down. That's about it. That one seems kind of difficult, but just space out as far as you need to until it's comfortable. As you get better, tighten it up, and you'll get more flex and more strength in your shoulders.